I love that we have on the same night Tot Shabbat and graduation. That's good. We're going to hear a little of that. I love it. Cracks me up. Last night. Right now I'm good. Let's not talk about it. Yeah. I can't be, like I have to wait till Sunday and then I won't be, and then I will be. Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're on page 24, and we join together in the words of Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Moachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitchem l'shalom, tzeitchem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech הקדוש הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So this week, really maybe 8 days ago, I got a chance to return to a theme that I don't normally get a chance to talk about. Once you publish a book on a topic, you talk a lot about it, and then you tend to kind of move on to the next topic. And so the theme for the holiday of Shavuot, which we celebrated with a local synagogue, with a few local synagogues, but at a synagogue called Shomrei Emunah in Montclair, was resilience. And so I got a chance to look again at the issue of loneliness. I know this has been something that from time to time rears its head. From time to time, news articles are published, and more than anything else now, I feel like it's in the consciousness. We understand that we all sometimes feel like Rapunzel, trapped in that palace on our own, unable to make it out, unable to see the world. And then it becomes an obligation upon the Jewish community to help people find avenues to get out of that tower, to help avenues that move away from loneliness toward companionship, toward being seen, toward love. And one of the goals of Shabbat is to enter into community with people that you know and some people that you don't. But by nature of being part of the Jewish community, they care about you, they love you, they are here for you. As this Shabbat moves forward and we enter into our prayer service, I want to invite us to see the people near us as the people who are the bombs on the loneliness that we might inevitably feel. And whether you feel it now or not, know that praying in community, connecting with a higher power, finding purpose, meeting someone new, are all the gifts that the Jewish community gives to help us to fight this epidemic. And so tonight, hopefully you do get a chance to meet someone new. And so if you see someone nearby who seems a little bit lost, who's not sure what's going on in the prayer book or in the service, feel free to lean over and show them where they are on the page. Now, a few logistical announcements before our service officially begins. If we need emergency exits, you've got this one, the one you came in, and also one's toward the back. Bathrooms are outside to the right, though all gender and handicap accessible bathrooms are toward the back. If you need large print prayer books, they're right on your left as you walk in, and hearing assisted devices are right in the office, right on the right. And so in a moment, we're going to move toward formally ushering in Shabbat, bringing light into this room, spreading light in this room. And we got a lot of joyous things to celebrate. Not only do we have 4 amazing seniors tonight who are going to reflect on their journey as we celebrate them in our graduation Shabbat, but we also have 2 B'nai Mitzvah. We have Lila and Levi, who've worked so hard to get here and who we're going to hear tonight lead us in Kiddush, and whose families are going to light the candles, and who tomorrow will get called up to the Torah for the very first time. And so in honor of that simcha, I want to call up your 2 families to come to prepare to light our candles and lead us in Kiddush. We're on page 2 and 3.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher קידשנו במצוותיו, וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
We're on page 5.
Go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hini lanu zikaron l'maaseh b'reishit Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon Hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Elechaim.
All right, you can take a seat. We're going to continue page 20, L'chadodi.
לילה חד דודי, יא לילה, יא לילה לקראת כלה, יא לילה
פני שבת,
פני שבת נקרא, לילה חד דודי, יא לילה, יא לילה לקראת כלה, יא לילה פני שבת. פני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד ישמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת, ולתחילה, יא לילה, יא לילה, חדותי, יא לילה, יא לילה, לקראת כלה, יא לילה, בני שבת. פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם משוכה סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה יא לילה יא לילה לחדותי לילה יא לילה לקראת כלה יא לילה פני שבת פני שבת נקרא. Verse 5.
התעוררי.
התעוררי
תעוררי, כי
Kivarech.
ברך קומי אורי, אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה.
Let's hear you.
יא לילה, יא לה 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 לך תודי, יא לילה, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקבלה.
We rise together facing the door.
בואי ושלום, את ערב עלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, יא לילה, יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לילה, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקווה, יא לה 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 לך דודי, יא לילה, יא לה 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 לקראת כלה, יא לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת נקווה.
Please be seated. So as I mentioned before, tonight we're going to hear from 4 phenomenal graduating seniors, people who have made it all the way through religious school, but not just that, people who have left their mark on so many other pieces of our community. It's uncommon to have 4 seniors, and I'll speak a little more about them later, who each are involved in their own way in so many different corners of the congregation. They don't just come to religious school on Wednesday nights, they do so much more. And so it's my pleasure to call each one to the bima to reflect a little bit on their journey and what it means to them to be taking this next step as they head off to college. And so our first speaker tonight is going to be Ella.
When I was 8 years old, my family joined Temple Ner Tamid, and in the fall of that year, I declared that I would be fasting on Yom Kippur. It didn't matter that my parents explained that children who had not yet had their bar bat mitzvah were not expected to fast. I just wanted to be like the grown-ups who did not eat all day and atone for my sins. I didn't realize it then, but I had a connection to Judaism. To sum up my experience at this place, a place where not only I have grown as a proud Jewish person, but also as a person as a whole, makes me think about being that 8-year-old girl. I actually remember feeling a little bit of dread coming to Hebrew school twice a week. In the past, I had felt bored when in a sanctuary listening to people pray. It wasn't until I started going to Sunday tefillah services that I started to feel differently about coming to Hebrew school and to temple. Those 30-minute services were filled with prayers, stories, questions, and music. My whole life, I've always been drawn to music, but until Ner Tamid, it was never in a religious way. The music was led by song leaders, these awe-inspiring teens with guitars and big voices. I remember looking at them like they were superstars. And I remember my 3rd grade self sitting there one Sunday morning and my mom whispering to me, "That's gonna be you someday." While the other kids may not have chosen to attend these services, I love them. Being part of Tefillah was interactive and made me feel a part of a community and feel loved. My favorite melody was L'Dor Vador. The intricate chord progression and the dancey vibe always had me rise out of my seat and start clapping. My family and I shared this love, and even when I started to sit with my friends at Tefillah, I would turn to them and find them in the audience, and we would smile together, and we would feel each other dancing, and everybody was clapping and singing together. Everyone was connected through the melody, and I felt power in that. Through my 10 years of religious school, we focused on holidays, tikkun olam, identity, intersectionality, the Holocaust, anti-Semitism, and social justice. It is not only the religion that draws me to Temple Ner Tamid, it is a sense of community. Ner Tamid is filled with amazing kids, teachers, clergy, and families. The community connects me to the unifying values of being Jewish, repairing the world, the inclusion of others, honoring those who came before us, and the pure joy of celebrating holidays with family and friends. But the music at Ner Tamid is central to my journey here. These melodies make every experience, whether good or bad, more powerful. For the past 4 years, I have had the honor of being a song leader here. I started as this shy 14-year-old trying to find her voice in a group of older boys, which figuratively and literally was extremely difficult to do, given the majority always ruled in regards to picking keys for songs. As time went on and COVID passed, I found my voice as a song leader and connected my profound love of Jewish music. I will forever be grateful for the Jewish connection that the Ner Tamid community has given me. L'dor vador means from generation to generation. And at 18 years old, on the cusp of a high school graduation, I can now say that I have a new understanding of my favorite Jewish song. The words and the melody still get me, but this time, rather than being an 8-year-old looking up to the teens with guitars, I am one of the teens with a guitar. Having stood on the bima trying to inspire the next generation of children to feel the same way I did. I have been so lucky to get to know kids here from ages 2 to 18 at our temple, plus so many incredible adults. I can see myself in so many of them, no matter the age. I am beyond confident that Ner Tamid will have the same impact on all of them that it has on me. Thank you.
We rise together, page 28 for Baruch.
Together.
Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Leolam Vaed.
We're seated together, and our second speaker will be Raina.
October 27, 2018 is probably a day that is memorable to a lot of people in this room, the day of the shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. This day is memorable to me in a different way, though. This was the day of my bat mitzvah, which embarked the beginning of my Jewish journey into Jewish womanhood. I remember being in the car with my mom, dad, and brother leaving Ner Tamid and going to my party when my mom looked back at me and my brother and said to us, "A terrible thing happened today at a synagogue in Pittsburgh, and you might hear people talking about it." She then told us that a shooter came into the synagogue and opened fire and that people were killed. Reflecting on that moment, it is clear that my bat mitzvah was the true start of my life as a Jewish woman, not only in the sense that I read from the Torah for the first time, but also in the sense that I got a real glimpse of what Jewish people had to face in the world. Since this moment, I have learned so much about being Jewish, all thanks to what I have learned at Ner Tamid in my years at religious school. And October 27, 2018 taught me that there are many things that go along with being a Jewish adult. It is not just a title. I learned that sometimes being Jewish is scary. I was scared on the way to my bat mitzvah party because it made me realize that something like this event could have happened at Ner Tamid. But this scared feeling was able to be tamed when I remembered the community I had at Ner Tamid that always supported each other. The fact that I was entering Jewish adulthood meant I would always have this community to rely on, and that made scary things like this shooting feel a lot less scary. This experience also taught me that an important part of being Jewish is looking for the light in things. While October 27, 2018 is a horrible memory for a lot of people, to me and my friends and family, it was also a happy day. It was the day I chose to continue my journey through Judaism. After my bat mitzvah, I continued with religious school, and even though most of my friends had stopped coming, I also joined BBYO, which is a Jewish youth group where I met lots of people that helped form who I am today. The people and lessons I have learned throughout these experiences have truly changed my life. So although October 27, 2018 is remembered as a horrific event in Jewish history, it represents the start of my own Jewish history. This event taught me that in a situation where it seems like everything is going wrong, something will always be going right. And since then, that is the way that I approach life.
Page 32, we join together in Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael,
Amcha
Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, b'shovenu u'b'kumenu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratacha, u'b'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem neged yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim, Baruch ata Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבת על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני Adonai Elohechem.
אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Our next speaker will be Jacob.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you all so much for coming today. Thank you to my family for zooming in. Standing up here today, I'm reminded of my bar mitzvah, chanting my Torah portion in front of friends, family, and congregants. For many in my class, this was the last time they would ever touch any Hebrew, at least for a while. This is a strange part in every Jewish kid's life because it's the part where Hebrew school becomes a choice, not something your mom makes you do. I've always done Jewish things, Hebrew school, BBYO, and Jewish summer camp, but these were all things that I just go to with no real connection. Returning to Hebrew school year after year felt like a why not more than anything else. It wasn't until the years after my bar mitzvah, when I made the choice to return to Hebrew school, when that all changed. I was confused when we kept learning about things like the Holocaust, because for a fresh out of mitzvah 7th grader, it felt like Jewish oppression was years behind us. Unfortunately, this ignorance soon dissipated. In recent years, my eyes have been open to the prejudice Jews still face. Things like ignorant comments from friends, blatant anti-Semitic propaganda being perpetuated by my peers throughout social media, or a direct attack on my synagogue are cruel reminders that our days of prosecution are long from over. Temple Ner Tamid has taught me that these acts of hate are not moments of defeat, but opportunities for perseverance and beyond. Thanks to my years at Hebrew school, I am now well informed enough to speak out against hate and educate those who may not even be aware of the hate they help spread. If on that day on my bar mitzvah, where I recited the last line of the Haftarah, looked and smiled at my mom, and decided that my Jewish journey was over, then I would never have had the opportunity to learn and tackle anti-Semitic acts against my people head on. My grandfather, Reverend Paul Steinke, or Grampy, spent his whole life with religion. He worked as a Lutheran minister and then spent the rest of his career in clinical pastoral care, where he was, quote, a rock star in his field and a teacher for many. He was a very wise man who had a very unique and refined outlook on religion, one that you could tell was shaped by years and years of experience. On a beautiful summer day during COVID, he and I sat outside his house in Connecticut, overlooking the beautiful lake across the street, watching my dad fish on his kayak. I enjoyed talking to him about all sorts of things, but my favorite subject with him was religion. He had such an interesting perspective as he taught many different people from many different faiths. He always spoke of the beauty of religion. He had such a deep appreciation, not only of his own, but of also all the other religions that he had come across as his years as a teacher. Unfortunately, a few months ago, he passed away. I'm very grateful for all the time we spent together over the years, but something still stuck with me. I couldn't wrap my head around what he meant by the beauty of religion. Sure, materialistic things like the rods in Yanni's office or the ark behind me is beautiful, but that's not what Grampy meant. It wasn't until one particular Wednesday during Hebrew school when Rabbi Katz pulled me aside from a program to a minyan he formed with students and congregants alike, and invited me to join in the mourner's Kaddish for my grandfather, a very special moment. A few days later, I was standing up in front of a small graveside service composed of family, reciting the mourner's Kaddish again, this time being the only one there who actually knew it. Although nothing but vast woods behind me, I could feel the strong and loving support of my Jewish community backing me. It was then when Grampy's words made sense to me. That was the beauty of religion. And it wasn't just these experiences that have had such an impact on me over the years. Sunday services, standing on the chairs and singing songs with my mom, working in the office with Maribel, Hebrew baseball with Moradani, my dad playing as Moses for Trek the Torah, nervously waiting outside Cantor Mary's office because I didn't do enough Torah portion practice that week, learning from Rabbi Katz through my laptop, and the amazing discussions and lessons from Avi and Rick. Temple Ner Tamid has had such a profound impact on my life, and my Jewish identity strengthens every day because of it. I am now proud and ready to do things like recite the Modeh Ani every morning, lead Passover services for family, and even hold my own in a discussion with my pop-up and his Orthodox rabbi. So thank you, Ner Tamid, for readying me for Jewish life in college and beyond. Grampy used to always say that one day, maybe I'd become a rabbi. And now, maybe that prediction isn't too far off. Thank you.
Frozen out there at the end. Nice.
We're on page 40, Mi Chamocha.
Ya ida 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 ya la la ya ida ida la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la ya la ya la la la.
We join together.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Nora tehiloto sefele, nora tehiloto sefele. Malechutecha ra'u banecha, וכהים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי, אנו ואמרו, זה אלי, אנו ואמרו, אדוני ya la la la, ya la ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la ya la, ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Page 42.
Exactly. I wonder if anyone from the graduation class wants to come up and sing this with me. Come on, people. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם. Now we join together words on the screen. Sometimes I lay under the moon and I thank God I'm breathing, and I pray don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds me, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day. Let's hear it again. One day, one day, one day, one day. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. You all may be seated except for Nick.
Well, that's a tough act to follow. Summarizing many years of religious school in just a few minutes does by no means justice to the people, places, and prayers that have helped me arrive at a feeling of liberation, that feeling of being proud of who you are and where you come from. Nonetheless, to reflect upon the religious school experience is to consider the very formation of my Jewish identity, the very essence of what it is to be a Jew. And yet, while I find myself graduating from this experience here today, I don't believe to be any closer to answering such questions than I was playing football in the social hall, sitting on my mom's lap during Jewish family journeys, or crawling around at Shoresh preschool. That is, the same idea has remained within me, that to be a Jew is to be yourself, to stand up for what you believe to be right, to express kindness and faith in those around you, and to hold gratitude for the tradition and history that you've inherited. Yes, my conclusions may be basic and rather naive, but that does not make them any less right. The legendary author Aldous Huxley once said that it is a bit embarrassing to have been concerned with a human problem all one's life and find at the end that one has no more to offer by way of advice than try to be a little kinder. Growing up as a Jew, I believe I've been conditioned to constantly understand issues through the quote-unquote human problem. Although I've arrived at similar conclusions as Huxley, I don't find myself embarrassed. Just as simple properties of math hold the most rigorous proofs and justifications, behind the idea that we ought to be a bit more grateful, a bit more respectful, a bit more humble is the rich history, belief set, and tradition that we've inherited as Jews. It's in the pursuit of understanding our background that I'm happy to be spending my next 4 years at the Jewish Theological Seminary, where I'll be studying Jewish history while also partaking in another, albeit more modern Jewish tradition, that is studying finance and economics at Columbia University. Above all else, I owe this decision to the incredible people and places I've come to interact with during my time here. I must first mention the other members of the quote-unquote Core Four that are Jacob, Ella, and Reina, right here, 3 wonderful classmates with exciting futures that I've only had the opportunity to meet through Temple Near Tamid. Through thick and thin, we've amassed some really fun memories, and I only have you all to thank for that. Next, overseeing the years full of philosophical discussions, religious teachings, and the many times I was a pain in the butt were the teachers themselves, some of whom are no longer serving at Near Tamid, but include Cantor Meredith, Ronnie Pressman, Rabbi Kushner, Maura Dani, Maura Nami, Maura Avi, Maura Rick, our former Director of Religious Education, Ira Schwartz, our current Director, Rabbi Sharon, and of course, Rabbi Katz. I've been blessed by their choice to share with me a fraction of their wisdom and insight into the Jewish religion, a service I try to dispense as a madrich. And last but not least, a shout out to my mom and dad, who have created an open and loving Jewish home where I could learn and grow, but at the same time, still have the freedom to be myself. Ultimately, the glue to the canvas that has timelessly cemented the teachings of the religious school experience were the places we visited, lobbying with the Religious Action Center in 9th grade, learning about the Jewish side of New York City in 11th grade, and most of all, seeing the unbelievably beautiful city of Amsterdam this year, even if all the seniors abandoned me, all serve to illustrate the blessing that is our culture and the miracle that is our survival. And it's on that theme of survival that I must mention the bravery, compassion, and leadership of our own Rabbi Mark Katz, the figure who undertook the mitzvah of collecting the shards of glass that fear may leave in its wake, and to piece them together to unite and inspire not only Temple Near Tamid, but citizens of our entire local community and beyond to new heights. Perhaps the idea I have learned above all else during my religious experience came in its final months, that no matter what the danger is or what the threat may be, as long as we stand together, united, there will always be that temple, that Near Tamid, not that Temple Near Tamid, the eternal flame, providing light and hope for all. Thank you.
So we're going to get a chance actually to reflect on this beautiful teaching, all of these beautiful teachings that we've been hearing as we move into our silent Amidah. And so I want to invite you not only to pray the words on the page, but to take a moment, pick an idea out that you heard tonight. Just let it sit on your heart for a little while. Spend a little bit more time with it. Understand how it might fit into your own sense of Jewish identity, your own Jewish journey. We rise together, page 46, for our Amidah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha.
Join together in a prayer for peace. Page 60. Page 60. Shalom Rab Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rab Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol shalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol shalom. Shalom Rab Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rab Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha lifarech et Amecha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
At this point in our service, we turn to page 253 as we have an opportunity to offer a mishaberach, a prayer for those in need of healing. And I'll look around the room in a few moments and ask you if you'd like to add some names out loud, as well as the folks that are online. And you'll see a listing of people that are in our list at this point. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, hu yivarech et hacholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us say Amen. Mishaberach avotenu mekor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha liavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. So, as I expected, all four of you spoke so beautifully. And, I'm not surprised at all. I've had the privilege of learning with you. Now, you were my pandemic class. You were my class that we learned on the computer. We saw each other, I think, once for a dress rehearsal before your confirmation, where we walked down the street to get ice cream. And we are, if you look at the pictures outside, you'll see the progression of the pandemic. A normal year, a year where someone just drew stick figures, which was 2020. You guys, where we're outside socially distanced in our picture. And then 2022, which is back to being together. And learning with you was such a pleasure. Now, I've been reflecting a little bit on what I want to say to you tonight. And I'm going to speak, by the way, to and about each of you individually. And so I'll be brief because I actually want to speak a little longer about each one of you instead of just saying congratulations. But I was thinking about the definitive moment in my senior year, something that really defined me. Now, this is going to date me for you, but also for them, which is that when I was a senior in high school, it was 9/11. And I remember being a senior. I remember sitting there on September 11th, 2001. And we had recently gotten these televisions installed in our classrooms. This was before social media. This was still the era of dial-up. And I remember someone saying in the hallway, a freak thing happened. A plane hit the World Trade Center. And I remember we all turned on the TV. And I remember it was in math class that I saw the second plane hit. And it was in economics class that I saw the first tower fall. And it was, for me, I would say, one of the largest and most important moments of my senior year. And I watched as the world had two reactions to 9/11. I watched as the world, some people's hearts softened and some people's hearts hardened. And I think we all know examples of that happening after 9/11. Watching as people grew fearful of strangers, angry at the world, unable to open up their hearts. And then there were others who learned compassion, who learned about the perseverance of the human spirit, who learned about the power of America. And I would like to hope that my heart was softened through the experience. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that tragedy can often have dual reactions. And when you think back on your Jewish identity, in the same way that Raina, when she thinks back on her bat mitzvah, can't help but think about the Tree of Life shooting, I imagine when you think about your graduating year, the events of the Molotov cocktail in late January are going to be definitive for you. Your Judaism, unfortunately, is framed as you head off into the world by an act of unspeakable hate. Who tries to burn down a synagogue? And I hope that over the course of this, your hearts have been softened instead of hardened. I also hope, and I know one of you said this already, that in reflecting back on what you learned, yes, I hope you better understand anti-Semitism. I hope that you see it more real in your life. I hope that you understand that the plight of the Jewish people is actually something that is real and alive. And like you probably felt a few years ago, I remember being in high school and railing against the idea that we needed to learn about anti-Semitism and the Holocaust, because it felt like we lived in this post-hate age. But it is all too real right now. But I do want to say that if your Judaism is defined only by your response to the hatred around you, it's a pretty poor Judaism. And one of the things that I admire actually about the four of you is that that's not what you take with you. That's not how you carry yourself. When I meet with wedding couples, I often talk to them about why it is that they care about being Jewish. And often the answer is because I don't want to be the generation that kills this thing. Or the answer is, in light of so many people who hate Judaism, I want to carry the torch. And I often tell them that that's not enough. Right? Judaism is amazing. It's 3,000-year tradition. It's a conversation throughout time. It adds meaning and purpose to our lives. And so the goal is to figure out what about Judaism is the thing that enlivens you. What about Judaism is the thing that makes it real and alive, that makes it powerful and meaningful? What does it add to your life? And then as you walk as an adult, I want you to look and I want you to find it. One of my goals as a rabbi, and I hope you've observed this to the congregation, is that I want to create a lot of doors for people to walk through. If prayer isn't your thing, I want social justice to be an avenue for you. If learning isn't your thing, I want community to be an avenue. And the more doors that you have, the more ways that you have to connect in. When you go off into college, when you land in your 20s, and statistically half of you move to Park Slope, Brooklyn, you're going to have options out there for you to figure out what is meaningful to you. And I hope that you find a door that matters to you. And it's not just a door about fear, and it's not just a door about Jewish vitality, and it's not just a door about continuity. It's a door that adds spirituality. It's a door that finds you friends. It's a door that gives you purpose. It's a door that keeps your hands busy in making this world a better place. Because if you figure out that door, it means we've succeeded in inspiring you enough. And then it's your turn to walk through it and to inspire other people to do the same. So I'm going to call each of you up individually, and I'm going to give you a book, as I do. This is a book I discovered this year. I don't think any of you were at confirmation when I spoke about this. So let me just explain one more time for those who were there at confirmation. I apologize if this is repetitive, but it's just such a good book, and you didn't get it at confirmation because I didn't know about it. So I figured for graduation I would give it to you too. So former speechwriter, head speechwriter for Michelle Obama, breaks up with her boyfriend, realizes she needs some purpose in life, and takes an Intro to Judaism class. She, unlike you, had dropped out right after seventh grade. And when she gets there, she suddenly wakes up and realizes, and this is why the book is called Here All Along, that Judaism is this amazing thing that's built for adults, that's nuanced, that asks great questions, that doesn't give you the answers, but rather gives you a platform for exploration. And so she delves deeper and deeper and ends up writing the book for her teenage self that she wishes that she had read, that explains why Judaism is this amazing religion for grown-ups, not just for kids. And you are all grown-ups. By the way, you were grown-ups when you were in 10th grade with me. You were grown-ups probably when you were in 7th grade too, though I came a little too late to work with 3 of you. I did get the privilege of working with 1 of you. But you hopefully are going to read this book, and you're going to see a lot of what you've been learning in religious school reflected in this book. And I'm going to make you a promise. If you read this book, I'll meet with you, and then I'll give you another one. Because each one of you have so much to add to the Jewish world, amazing perspective, amazing heart, and I hope this book inspires you to do that. So let me call you up one by one, and I want to say a few words about you. So maybe I'll just do it in the order that you're sitting in. So we'll call Ella up first. Stand right here. So Ella, I could speak about a lot, about your warmth, about your spirit, about the fact that you light up rooms when you walk into it. But as is expected, I'm going to speak about your music. So I remember your growth as a song leader. I remember especially that 10th grade year when everybody was virtual and you just jumped right in. And we needed a little bit of extra time during religious school. And so you taught a music class to kids, you led services virtually all year. And I watched as you just exploded in your abilities. So much so that this past year, and people may not realize this, Ella was tapped to actually lead the teen service for the high holidays. And at one point, her strap on her guitar broke and she couldn't play it. So what did she do? It was toward the closing song. She walked over and finished the song on the piano. That's who Ella is. Ella not only has the ability to get people to sing, not only does she love prayer and music in a way that I've rarely seen students, but she has this just general sense that she's unflappable. And to carry that with you in life is an extraordinary thing. Now, each of you I'm going to give a quote to in Judaism that I think defines a piece of who you are. And for you, it's more of a moment. After Moses sings his famous song after the Jews walk past the sea, Miriam gathers a bunch of women together. And with timbrel in her hand, they dance and they sing. And there's a midrash about them that says that they each lead in very different ways. Moses sings the song and then has the people repeat after he's done. Miriam instead goes line by line, calling and responding, because Miriam knows what it's like to bring people in immediately with music. And there's two kinds of leaders. There's Moses leaders who stand in front and inspire, and there's Miriam leaders who bring people along for the ride moment by moment. You, Ella, are Miriam, and we've been blessed for these years that you have been so. So you can take a seat. Reina. So you were the only student of the four of you that I got a chance to work on your B'nai Mitzvah with. The others happened to go in the spring, and I came in 2018. From the moment I began to work with you, one of the general features of who you are just really jumped out to me, which is you have a sense of love for those around you and a true sense of justice. I love the fact that for your bat mitzvah, we worked on a speech where you really took to task the Sodomites, but it was for their lack of hospitality, and it was for the horrible things that they did. And you asked this amazing question, which is, are we that different? Is society that good that we can actually frown on them? And it's amazing, by the way, that you asked that question on a day when a shooter walked into a synagogue and did what he did. It was prescient. And nobody, when we heard your speech, knew that had happened. This sense of justice that you have, some people care about the world because of anger. Some people care about the world because they want to see themselves elevated in the fight. You care about the world because you love. You have a huge heart. And you love deeply and truly. You are authentic in that love. Your quote is a song that we sing all the time. Olam chesed yibaneh, that the world is built by love. Because the world is built by people like you. And I've seen that expressed in the way that you relate to our preschoolers. You may not realize, but Ella is the Amalia whisperer. Reina. Reina is the Amalia whisperer. Amalia, by the way, is my daughter. Amalia does not do well with babysitters, except for really one, two, but one, yes. Somehow on the first time that Reina showed up at my house, it was extraordinary. I mean, my kids just loved her. And why did they love her? Because she loves them. And I thought it was unique to my kids until I popped my head into the preschool and I watched her with the other preschoolers. And I realized that that's just who she is. Her heart is just so big and her heart is just so full that it echoes out. People feel it. And people love you for the love that you give to them. And the world will love you for the love you give to it. So keep your big heart, and all of us are going to benefit. Jacob.
Thank you.
So when I think about you, two things specifically come to mind. The first is the fact that during the pandemic, you gave a lot of people a gift. Now, people were trying to figure out how it is that they connect with family and friends being so far away and having this cap of at first 10 people and then 25 people at services. And you provided this service for the community. You basically said to them, look, I know that you're going to want to be able to see these montages, even though there's not going to be a party. So I'm going to help you, and I'm going to give my talents over, and I'm going to make sure that people can see that, they can see and to feel a part of it. And I watched, by the way, at the pandemic, as a lot of the work that you did was one of the things that connected the most to families. We would finish the service, and then we would turn the montage on, and all of those people, hundreds of computers, would watch your handiwork as you would watch a student grow up throughout the years. And you came up with that idea, not just because you're entrepreneurial, though that's true, but also because I think you got where people needed. You lent, by the way, the same skills when you were in 9th grade, and a project that your classmates had been working on for a really long time fell apart because of the pandemic, which was a symposium for gun control. Instead, you guys jumped right in and you started interviewing for the 40th anniversary of our congregation founders. And you spent hours on one of the most amazing videos I've ever seen a teenager do to really tell the story and to have a gift that we now have that years from now I can show people as many of those founders end up moving away, exactly what it took for our community in the 1980s to form. Now, that would be enough, but it's not only you. Because the other thing that I think about is the fact that you worked tirelessly in the office on Sunday mornings. And Maribel loved you. Maribel, for those who don't know, is our administrator for our religious school. And I remember her talking about how, I'll just give Jacob that project. He's going to do a great job with it. But it wasn't just the administrative stuff. It was the fact that you also really greeted people with a smile and with warmth every time that they walked in. Whether it was a kid looking for a Band-Aid, whether it was a parent who was picking their kid up early, whether it was a staff member or a teacher who was looking to use the printer, I remember that smile that you would say, what you would do just as everybody walked in. And there's this idea in Judaism, your quote, that we should treat everybody with a kaf zechut. That if everybody walks in, you give them the benefit of the doubt. You greet them with a countenance of kindness. That you assume goodwill with everybody and you give that goodwill out. And that's how you carry yourself in the world. Whether it's giving a gift to those who were stranded behind a screen during the pandemic, or whether it's greeting everybody with just incredible love and kindness as they walk into that office, your presence lights up the hearts of those around you. And so I have no doubt that it will continue to do that even long after you're past here.
If you want a video, find me out.
Nick. So I'm actually going to start with your quote. There's a famous midrash that speaks about the idea that just as a fish, when it's raining, goes after every drop of rain when it falls, thinking that it might be food, so too does the Torah scholar when he greets a new text or new idea, treat it as if it is its first bite. And one of the things that I admire about you is your ability to just soak in information, to quench your thirst, but never fully quench it with learning. You ask amazing questions. And when I watched you in Amsterdam, walk around Amsterdam, your eyes were wide open. You just want to drink in this world because you get that everything has the opportunity for learning. And I've watched you interact with your classmates. I've watched you interact with teachers. I've watched you interact with tour guides and with peers. And you get the idea, Ve'ezehu chacham halomed mikol adam, who is wise? Those who learn from everyone. You read widely. You're the only kid I've ever met who reads conservative economic theory and liberal economic theory and compares and contrasts the two with an open mind. You're, by the way, the only teen I've ever met that reads economic theory, period. And your ability to do that means that you're going to see the world with this analytical lens, and you're going to understand the world so much wider. But it's not just that. I've watched you be a teacher to others too. Occasionally you'll bring up a point, and you'll realize in the moment when you've brought up that point, because you are so well read, you're like, oh, you know what? They don't actually know what I'm talking about. They don't know that thinker, or they don't know that term. And I've watched you pause, and I've watched you very succinctly explain exactly what you're talking about, which means that you're not just a classic learner, you're also a classic teacher too. And in doing so, it means that you enliven the eyes of everyone around you. We are supposed to enliven our eyes with Torah. In fact, we're told, that our eyes are literally supposed to sparkle as we read Torah. And I've watched your eyes, your soul, your heart sparkle throughout your learning. And I know that it sparkles throughout all of the rest of your learning too. And so it's an extraordinary thing. And I know that the more that you learn, the more you're going to add that learning to the world, and the better off we all are going to be. So come on up, the four of you, because I'm going to offer you what is called Tefillat Haderech, the prayer. Come on over here. The prayer for journeys, because the two of you are surely going on a journey, or the four of you are surely going on a journey. Yehi ratzon milfanecha, Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei Avotenu v'Imotenu, shetolichenu l'shalom. May it be your will, our God and God of our ancestors, that you lead these four amazing individuals in peace and help them as they move toward their destination, safely, joyfully, and peacefully. May you protect them from any harm along the way, and may you bless the work of their hands. May your deeds merit honor for you. May you always learn, may you always grow, may you always teach. Praised are you, Adonai, protector of Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Shamer Yisrael La'ad. And so we offer you a blessing, the oldest blessing we have to give in our tradition, the priestly benediction. Come on up, Ronnie, as we say. May God bless you and protect you. May God cause God's face to shine upon you and give you grace. May God always smile upon you, granting you a life of wholeness and peace.
May be God's will, let us say Amen.
And we'll sing joyfully.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. סימן טוב, מזל טוב, מזל טוב וסימן טוב, סימן טוב ומזל טוב, מזל טוב וסימן טוב, סימן טוב ומזל טוב, מזל טוב וסימן טוב. יהי לנו, יהי לנו, יהי לנו ולכל ישראל. 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 Love you guys.
We're going to rise together for Aleinu, page 282, as we move into the conclusion of our service.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who we've loved and who we've lost. As I call the name of your loved one, I'll invite you to rise, honoring their memory and remaining standing. This Shabbat, we remember Marilyn August, Elaine Becker, Morton Belove, Sheldon Burke, Florence Berner, Susan Bingham, Saul Chavkin, Isidore Cooper, Israel Dorfman, Marcia Ursum, Jack Epstein, Esther Epstein, Samuel Fromson, Isaac Ginsberg, Helene Sachs-Glantz, Sidney Grainer, Irving Hoffman, Jack Jacobs, Jack Cass, Alan Kimmel, Diana Kirschenbaum, Rose Koslowski, Herman Kosin, Sharon Kraus, Sandra Kravitz, Miriam Kushner, Max Laufer, Rosalind Levin, Morris Lipkin, Julius Malkin, Sarah Mabey, Arnold Mesner, Sylvia Mooney, Louis Moses, Max Moskowitz, Ruth Pesner, Seal Rabinowitz, Joseph Scherer, Sanford Schnoll, Jacob Schondorf, Rose Schwartz, Oscar Sherman, Harry Silver, Irma Storch, Charles Strimpel, Celia Tambor, Joseph Tobias, Howard Weinberg, Louis Weinberger, and Eva Zeitlin. And those who are in their Shiva and Shloshim periods of mourning, Irvin Natter, father of Merrill Natter, Shirley Greenfield, mother of George Greenfield, Larry Greenfield, uncle of Jim and Peter Axelrod, Robert Nelson, brother of Jack Nelson, and Rivka Post, mother of Tamir Post. In addition, I'll invite anybody to rise if they're recalling someone who had a yard site who is not on this list, or if they are within their 1-year period of mourning. We turn to page 294 and we rise together. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad ivrach yirteh v'yamlech malchuteh, v'chayachon uv'yom echon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'gala uv'isman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei almaya, yiparach v'yishavach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shebeit ha'kudashah b'richu, le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiram b'yamav v'imru amen. Yehei shalom araba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Please be seated. So,
June,
yes,
so much happening
we got
this month.
a bunch happening.
So much.
So I'm going to just flag a few things. The first, of course, tomorrow morning, we have 2 services, 10 a.m., 12 p.m., as we welcome Levi and Lila to the Bima. There's chanting circle at 9. There's also Torah study at 8:30. On Sunday, we have our big spring run fundraiser. 5K, walk, run, doesn't matter. It's actually a wellness fair in addition to being a 5K. So come on by. We're going to have booths and things for you to do to learn all about wellness, but definitely come participate in that run. In addition to that, next weekend, next Friday night really, is going to be our membership Shabbat. Now, what is membership Shabbat? It means, thanks for being a member, we want to buy you dinner. And so come, we've got a dinner for you, and it's a way to meet other members and for us to say thank you for being a member for this year as it comes to a close programmatically. And then the weekend after, Cantor,
is our annual Pride Shabbat, in which we are welcoming back to Temple Ner Tamid the Stonewall Chorale. They will be doing an entire program of Sondheim music to celebrate Pride, and of course, the glorious text and music of Stephen Sondheim, who lifted up many, many stories of inclusion throughout his work. And come join us, have dinner, sing, dance, all of it, and come back a week later, because on the 23rd, we are going to, we meaning myself and the other folks who were traveling with me in Tbilisi, Georgia this last 10 days, are going to come and share really the unbelievable experiences that we had helping to establish a liberal Jewish community in a country that's never seen liberal Judaism before. So something very, very, very special has occurred and continues to happen. We'd love to tell you more about it. So come back.
All right, so with that, we're going to end with Oseh Shalom.
Indeed.
Yes.
Come
You wanna
on,
come back up?
seniors.
Yeah.
Get back up here and grab the mic. We pray together. Oseh Shalom Roma. Hu yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom Roma. Hu yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom Roma. Hu yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Yaseh Shalom. Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom. Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh Shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Yaseh Shalom. Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom. Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oh, Shabbat Shalom and Mazal Tov.
So come, meet someone new, grab a cookie, and